Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. Today we're in Coltishall, sticking with the Norfolk Broads theme. We're going to have a look around here. Our starting point today is this lovely common outside the Rising Sun pub, looking as majestic as ever here. Our walk today takes us away from the river though. We're going to go through the countryside for around an hour and a half. Technically that is an hour and 17 minutes, I just couldn't be bothered to be specific at that moment in time. So we're going to turn left out of the car park and walk towards the village centre. This walk today is another taken from my favourite commute app, and brace yourself because there's a lot of Coltishalls in this title. So this walk is called The Rising Sun Coltishall Village Loop from Coltishall. So, a lot of Coltishall if you've missed any. So we are currently walking towards the village centre. You can see the church up there in the distance, just over the hill. There is the Red Lion pub. Now this is the third pub I've seen in the short space of time since the walk started. And that is very reassuring in a day and age where the pubs are struggling, that we actually have, free pubs within such a short distance that are not in a city centre that are still open and running. So it's the 2nd of February today, and I do want to see if I can see any little signs of spring starting to spring a little bit. And there is quite a large patch of snowdrops right there, which is pretty cool. Good start. Now I'm quite aware that they haven't grown up everywhere at the moment. Some of them are still yet to flower, so but we'll keep an eye out. Wherever I can see, I'll let you know. Right, so at this point we're going to take a right off of the main road and we're going to head down there, Rectory Road. Thought I'd take a little look back at the road sign as I go. Bethesda Gospel Church, so that's or Gospel Hall, so small little church there. I usually catch lovely days on this channel, but today it is overcast, so I decided to take the chance, and it has started to spit with rain a bit, so I hope it's not going to affect the walk too much. Like I say, this is only just over an hour, so I'm hoping that I'll be back at the car before any major precipitation arrives. So there are allotments off to the right down here and park to the left somewhere. It's not quite as mild as I thought it would be either. My fingers are starting a little bit cold. Made good progress along this road already. So now coming past the village hall, there are sports courts here as well. It's not just a park, so you actually play sports and all sorts of things. Sugary, slow down. The one or two people I've passed so far, they seem pretty content despite the weather. Right, so here opposite Bure Valley Football Club, we need to take a left. This takes us onto Westbourne Road. This isn't yet turning out to be the great nature ramble. It's pretty urban at the moment, but sometimes in certain areas of the Broads you do have to go into an urban area to link all the pretty bits up together. There's a little bus shelter here at the end of Westbourne Road. I'm assuming those portaloos are temporary. We've now got to take a right onto the main road, but only very briefly. We're heading towards Coltishall Bure Valley Station. So this is where you need to turn off. It's not very far after Westbourne Road at all. This is very literally an old train station, and then you go down here and you go between those two barriers to go onto the Bure Valley path. So there are plenty of places you can go from here. Coltishall circular walks, Bure Valley path, all the way from Wroxham to Aylsham as well. And this looks to be the main bulk of the walk. I mean, quite often the Bure Valley path does string a couple of nice areas together, so it's an important link. There's even a train waiting in the station. So this is the classic old light railway, very popular with tourists and locals alike, and unfortunately it's the wrong way round on the camera, but you get the idea. Burevalleyrailway, come and give it a visit. Is it telling you to have a rest, or are there a few pests around here? So that second bridge, I believe, has just taken us under the part of Rectory Road that went beyond where we turned off. And the idea very much behind this walk, I think, is to use the Bure Valley path to link and eventually take us back to the rising sun, and you'll see how that unfolds. Fingers are getting chilly again. I think I'm going to stick him in my pocket for a couple of minutes and listen to some Foo Fighters. It's pretty much just this landscape for a while now, in any case. Now coming up to our third bridge since we came onto this track. It's quite bridge heavy, this part of the Bure Valley. It's not like this the entire way along, but around Coltishall, definitely very bridge heavy. And that's not a complaint, we do like a few bridges on this channel. So the landscape is starting to change from that high banking, and we are now about to go over a little bridge that takes us past the very small hamlet almost of St James. It's much more peaceful here. It seems like the overall village of Coltishall is extremely busy today. Taking the fact that it's the 2nd of February into account, must admit I haven't really been looking out for any further snowdrops or daffodil starting to spring. Yeah, I haven't noticed any, but the only ones I've really seen so far have been in that churchyard. Perhaps people don't always see this sort of side of the Norfolk Broads away from the river, off the beaten path a bit. Still very pretty. There is a walkway that I use quite a bit on one of my big circular walks that I tend to do. But this time we are continuing over the bridge, and we're going to go all the way out to the level crossing before working our way back into Coltishall. So there is a little road that if you were to walk along it, it would eventually take you to the main Norwich to Norfolk Road via a lot of twists and turns. And that route leads you back into Coltishall via St James. There is quite the variation of landscapes and things to see from this path, so it does give you a good overview of all of the scenery around here. And there's still a little bit of sort of river-like activity going on. You ain't getting many boats in that ditch though. Very chilly up here because I'm actually up quite high compared to all the surrounding countryside, so the wind is just hitting me. Although it's definitely not as aggressive as that wind we had in Salthouse on the beach. That was absolutely manic, wasn't it? The banking is now back, so it's going to be like this for a while again. Now here is some kind of marker. I'm not sure if they're milestones or just sort of placed randomly, but yeah. Well, it says Bure Valley Path 7 miles, so I'm guessing that could be the measure of distance between Aylsham and here, potentially. It's definitely not from Wroxham, as that's only like a mile to 2 miles from here. I'm not sure if the overall length of the path, it's either 8 miles or 12 miles, but I cycled it quite a bit when I was a teenager, and it definitely feels like more than 8 miles, I can tell you that much, if you do the entire length. So we're now coming up to another hamlet called Beela Green, this one. I did do a deep dive into Beela Green on my other channel, which is an F1 gaming channel, so if you're interested in checking that out, it's called Gent Gaming. It is very F1 themed and influenced, that one. But yeah, today we're just passing through. There's something about the trees in the background here, I think. It's getting slightly muddier on this stretch. Now going under another bridge, I believe this is the 4th. If you come off to the side there where that signpost is, it takes you into Beela Green. I believe this is the last bridge you go under on the way to Wroxham. There is another bridge you go over once you go beyond the level crossing. That's still at Beela Green, but it's on the other side. We won't be going there today. But certainly, as far as going under bridges is concerned, this is the final one, I believe. And now things flatten out, so there's a bit more to see from the pathway. You're not just walking with banking on both sides. I'm not entirely sure what this old hut-like building was used for. I pass it often and I often wonder. But as you can see, what you can see is pretty much what you can see. So there's no hidden secrets in there. I swear there used to be like old beer cans. So like a few years back, I swear people had parties in there, but I don't see anything like that these days. The evergreen here ensures some colour and a different texture as well to what else is around. There is also some agricultural activity going on. I will try to show you that. Well, unfortunately, while I can smell that bonfire, I can't feel the heat from it. Not yet anyway. There is a digger as well, but it's not coming across clear on camera. I can't remember if those trees were up before, if they've come down recently. I'd imagine they possibly have. But I can't really remember. Yeah, I think common sense tells me that they came down recently, because you wouldn't sit them there for a couple of years and then burn them, would you? So I'd imagine they've just pulled them down. You would have thought, as someone who walks this route regularly, that I would be perfectly aware of that. But I'm a man, and therefore I'm not very observant. All I really know is it does feel a fair bit lighter without the trees canopying it a bit. Surely it's not too hard to throw the orange peel away or take it with you. Although at least the orange is natural. You know, there's far worse things you could litter with. It's the laziness that gets me though, you know. If you think an orange is too messy to keep in your pocket, don't bring an orange, bring something else, you know, or bring a suitable bag to keep it in. Of course, it could be that a seagull stole it from somewhere and then flew over here and dropped it. I mean, that is very possible. Bloody lazy seagulls. Okay, it would appear that in my distraction with fires and oranges and everything else, I've actually gone too far. I thought we were going all the way to the level crossing, so my local knowledge has worked against me, really. So we've gone too far. So that last bridge we should have turned off at, where I said the signpost was, and we should have gone down that road. Which, to be fair, I don't actually have an issue with. It's not quite, they're both back roads, but this road that we are now heading to is a lot less busy. So yeah, this channel is partly made to give you directions with some walk ideas, and I've just ignored it and gone too far. Well, I did say that because I'm a man I don't pay attention to such things, didn't I? Being a man, that is my excuse for everything. And that's also why, even in an area I know, I check the route on Komoot and the marker to see where I am, because occasionally, especially when you think you know an area or you know where you're going, that kind of works against you a little bit. I mean, we can still get back to the starting point from where we were heading, but obviously if I'm going to show you a route, we want to kind of stick to it. But I would say that the fires and the orange were points of interest, and if I hadn't done that little extra excursion, we wouldn't have seen any of that. And this channel does, you know, focus on points of interest, and on this walk there's no such key points as such, so it is just about observing daily life and nature and seeing what things out of the ordinary occur. Do you know, it's funny because I said that this bridge was a quieter road, and when I went under it there was a car going over it, and now coming back to it I've seen a car going over it, so maybe it's not going to be that quiet today. It's obviously a very bustly Monday. It seems like around here, sometimes the roads are a bit quieter on a Monday as the week starts slowly. There's that hut again. And sometimes it all starts to get really busy on a Tuesday, and all of Monday's traffic arrives on Tuesday as well. But this week, Monday is definitely on the bustle. Right, so we're back under that fourth bridge, and we're back to where we should have been in the first place. I'm going to approach as if that whole fire and orange thing never happened, so you can see the queue that you're looking for if you're walking this route. Right, so yeah, so you come up to the bridge like we did before when we went under it. That didn't happen. And there's a sign there and it says Coltishall and Beela circular walks. That's the one we're going to follow up these steps. And it is quite worth just stopping halfway up the steps to admire the view of the fields around, because it's quite a nice view. That's the third car I've just seen. And now we come up and it's straight onto this little road, and this will take us back into Coltishall. And we turn right here. There is the view back. But we should be turning to the right, as I showed you. There's a few cyclists about today as well, so not many walkers, but a few cyclists. So it would appear that when I was looking at the map last night and trying to figure out exactly where it was going, I was like, oh yeah, I know that one, that's there. Because there's a little junction I'll show you later, and the road comes down the left side of the junction to meet actually the other road that comes off from that bridge we went over at St James. But me and my hurry to plan thought that the road from the level crossing that we never quite got to was that one, but obviously it wasn't, and we're now on the right path. And there's not actually much of the walk left to do now. Wouldn't it be cruelly comical if pedestrians can't pass through and pedestrians need to take the same diversion as the cars? Because guess where that would lead to? The road that we would have been on if we'd have kept going to the level crossing. So we're going to keep going straight, assuming that the road is closed for cars, not pedestrians. And yeah, there is a little left of that diversion sign, but we don't take that. We keep going straight if we are sticking to the original route of the walk, which, as you've already seen, I am trying to do. So this road is pretty straight, just a couple of gradual turns in it, but nothing too strenuous. Couple of little gaps in the hedges give you the chance to admire the scenery. But other than that, you pretty much have the stereotypical British tree-lined lane. I think I need to get a cup of tea ready. And this pretty much continues all the way down the lane. The hedge lining, that is, not the cup of tea. I'm not chasing a cup of tea down the lane. Funnily enough, I didn't even like tea until I got into my late 20s. And then I had one day where I tried a cup and I thought, well, that isn't too bad. And I ended up drinking 7 cups in one day. And my old band, we had our first gig that evening. I felt massively sick by the time we got to that, I can tell you. But who am I to say no when somebody offers me a cup of tea? It's something to do after all. Something to do with the hands. So as you start to get back into Coltishall through the back way, you'll notice a house or two on your left hand side, and then there's a 30 miles per hour speed limit sign straight after that. So that's when you know you're nearly home. One thing to note is because of the nature of this road, it can be quite difficult to get out of the way of vehicles when they're coming down, so you have to be vigilant. There are spaces where you can just about walk in if you're prepared to walk up the verges, but it's not easy. The 30 mile an hour speed limit sign hastens in a bit of a sharper bend, the first time we've had a sharp bend on this road. That sign has definitely been well weathered, as have the national speed limit signs on the other side of them. Definitely had a bit of weathering and scraping, I think, as well. I would imagine the one on the left possibly even scraped by a tractor trying to pass through very carefully. Now start to get flanked by some lovely looking woodland. There through the hedgerow you can see across to St James. It would probably be covered in leaves in the summer, so you wouldn't necessarily be able to see that then. There are certainly some very fine houses around here. And here is the junction I was referring to. Bit of a staggered one, so that road at the bottom will come out and meet us there, and we meet it there if we want to go that way, which we don't. We are going to continue straight down the road and back into Coltishall. So this is White Lion Road, and this is your final stage before you get back to the common where the pubs is. And I think we're going to pop into the Rising Sun and get a little half a Coke just to finish our walk off. Now I am only going to give this walk today 7.5 out of 10. And the reason why is pretty much down to my local knowledge. Like, I know that although this is a lovely walk, and if I didn't have the local knowledge it would probably score higher, but I know that there are nicer walks that make you feel more complete along this same route. And don't get me wrong, this is a lovely walk, and as it stands alone is absolutely fantastic. But like I say, my local knowledge tells me differently. It tells me that there are other walks that I would have potentially preferred over this one. Now that may seem a little bit harsh, but not everything can be a 10 out of 10 all the time. But I think it still has to score high because the area is beautiful, and you know, certainly been a pleasure to do. Just me being a bit picky perhaps. But sometimes I feel that you have to be. By the way, if you have enjoyed watching this, please do remember to like and subscribe. Subscribing is free and it really helps the channel out. And also leave a comment with your thoughts about the walk that we've just done. Well, just stopped and had a chat to a local, and I'm not the only one who finds it a little bit chilly today, that's for sure. Seeing a few more dog walkers around these parts now as we get back into the built up area. So this is what it's all about. Coltishall Common, Norfolk Broads, you know, the end of the navigable part of the River Bure. And whereas St Benet's Abbey, where we were last time, that's pretty much hustle and bustle. It's the main river route through from everywhere to everywhere else. Here is the end of the river, the end of the road, and it's quite chilled by comparison here, and the river is narrower here as well. So once you're across the road, from what I can make out, you do just carry on walking along the pavement. Sometimes you would go across the common, but it's a bit muddy, so I'm quite glad that this walk doesn't. It's a bit muddy in winter time. But in any case, I think we had a good quack at it. Duck. Couldn't resist the duck puns. So now we're back at our start point, and like I say, we'll go into the Rising Sun for a quick drink to finish off.
If you ask me a question, I don't know the answer, but you give me yeah, I can't do that.
So there you go, fantastic way to end a very nice relaxing day. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys soon for another walk, and until then, take care.